Yeah, a few months and several patches from now, the Outer Worlds Spaces Choice Edition might end up the definitive way to play Obsidian's excellent if traditional RPG, even if some of the divisive visual changes remain. This outsourced remastering promised a true next-gen version, with high resolutions and frame rates. It is launched at a shocking state, and has a convoluted upgrade path. As a result, it now serves as a reminder of how many corporations treat their legacy products with increasing disdain as they attempt to eke out a little more profit. A doubly problematic situation, where the game itself is a critique of rampant corporate culture. As there are those who might have missed the original release, I'll start with the positives. The Outer Worlds Spaces Choice Edition is still The Outer Worlds, a first-person RPG that shares plenty of DNA with Bethesda's Fallout 3 and 4, and their own take on the IP, Fallout New Vegas. Unlike those games, the scope of the narrative and world is reined in for a tighter, focused experience, though it's no less dense when it comes to the importance of player attributes, companion interactions, and dialogue choices. The result is an engaging and moorish RPG, with the pacing ramped up to 11. You play as a recently revived colonist, left on ice for 70 years in the Hope colony ship, abandoned at the end of the Halcyon colony through a combination of poor planning, shoddy construction, and corporate mismanagement. In the Outer Worlds, deep space colonization efforts have been left in the hand of corporate entities that have commodified every aspect of colonial life: jobs, health, children, and even death. The existing colonies are floundering under their own bureaucracy and corporate ineptitude, while many colonists are turning to marauding. Saved by a scientist-turned-corporate fugitive, Phineas Wells, the opening planet serves as an extended tutorial that sees the player repair and assume control of their starship, the Unreliable, before the faction choices become more clear, and you can either help Phineas overthrow the board and free the remaining suspended colonists, or side with the corporations and assist them in his capture. There are, of course, multiple companion quests and side quests to tackle on the way, before events culminate in two mutually exclusive ending sequences, with modifiers based on your prior actions. Of course, with the Spaces Choice Edition, you're also getting two lengthy high-level expansions, Peril on Gorgon and Murder on Eridanus, that add another 10-ish hours of quality content. The Outer Worlds gameplay loop is thoroughly enjoyable, albeit classic to the point some might argue it's dated. It's satisfying not because any one element is incredible, rather because it does a little bit of everything and at a brisk pace. You explore small but dense locations with little filler between quest objectives. You're frequently finding new gear, leveling up, improving attributes, and assigning new perks and flaws. Most quests can be completed in multiple ways, proving rewarding for those who explore, use skill checks and dialogue, or just pull out a plasma rifle. Your reputation with the factions, and some sub-factions, can fluctuate, so it's wise to play all sides until the finale. For those worried that their charisma or tech-oriented builds means a dull, low-combat playthrough, the Outer Worlds still has no shortage of wildlife and bandits out for blood. Any class can wield any weapon, attempt most dialogue challenges, pick locks or hack computers. You're just more efficient or more likely to succeed at higher levels. Talking of skills, your companions play a big role in your abilities. Two can accompany you at any given time, providing unique comments on the location, each other, and even chip in during important dialogue sequences and suggest alternate quest solutions. Perhaps more importantly, they provide effective backup in a firefight if properly equipped, and boost your attributes based on their own core skills. If you spend some time gearing them up, picking complementary perks when they level up, and fine-tuning their behaviors, you can cover almost any eventuality and become an effective all-rounder, regardless of your individual build. Now, I describe the gameplay as classic, and it helps if you're a fan of their prior games or the Bethesda-developed Fallout games. The world is a series of semi-open zones and large interiors, all connected by loading screens. The shooting is competent, but you'll want to use the slow time ability as often as possible. Most locations are packed with an absurd amount of loot, leading to frequent trips back to stores and workbenches to sell, scrap, or repair items. There are also hundreds of entertaining notes and environmental storytelling that encourages you to systematically explore each area before moving on. It's something I love, but those fond of cinematic games that simply funnel you between set pieces might find this downtime an issue. Now, the marketing for the Outer Worlds Spaces Choice Edition states better graphics, improved performance, additional animations, high-res environments, and more. Now that's mostly true, but with a severe caveat. The game certainly renders at a higher resolution on next-gen consoles, the environments are more detailed with new props and embellishments, character models and animations look more lifelike, some backdrops have been enhanced, the weather feels more dynamic, and the load times are reduced to a few seconds. The improved volumetric lighting can look great, especially during dawn or dusk, but many regions display a dominant color scheme, usually something garish or neon, and it can feel overbearing. On the gameplay side, the level cap has been raised to 99 to accommodate the expansions and all their respective quests. NPC pathfinding has been a little refined, and basic enemies show a little more animation variety. Unfortunately, the performance is a joke in this release build. On PC, system requirements have risen slightly, yet many user reviews are reporting halved frame rates. On console, Both the visual and performance modes have wildly variable frame rates. It's generally stable when exploring towns and interiors, but any trip into these semi-open world zones can see the frame rate plummet as you swing your view around, introducing obvious input lag during combat that makes for a jerky experience. Now that's in stark contrast to the Next-Gen Aware update for the original, which offered a mostly locked 60 frames per second mode, at least for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So as it stands, the Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition feels uncomfortably like an unoptimized and dubiously marketed remaster, with a vaguely described upgrade path that has just left people confused. That all makes it difficult to appreciate the actual improvements, when the rubbish performance makes playing it unpleasant. Given the marketing push, I don't understand A, how this got past QA, and B, why it had to be rushed out before it was properly optimized. The Outer Worlds is a great game that deserves a larger audience, but all the Spacer's Choice Edition has achieved so far is to tarnish its reputation. If you've been meaning to pick up the Outer Worlds, wait on patches before trying the Spacer's Choice Edition. If you're desperate to play it now, then just pick up the last-gen version and the DLC, as it's still a great game, and it runs great backwards compatible on Xbox Series or PlayStation 5 consoles.